on his approach to tariffs.
He was clearly frustrated, and that's what we expected. Again, this was the cornerstone of his economic agenda. So he came out and almost immediately admonished the justices who supported the majority ruling here, striking down his tariff regime. And it wasn't just the liberal justices, although he had particularly sharp words for those, but it was also the three conservative justices, too, that he had very sharp words for. And then beyond that, he talked about how he tried to frame this as business as usual. Nothing is going to change with his tariff policy, essentially saying, well, they struck down one law that allowed us to move forward on tariffs, so that avenue is now closed, but saying the White House will find other avenues to move forward with tariffs and other laws to justify it. And then I think he made news by saying that actually today he's going to be signing an executive order for a 10% across the board global tariff. And he's going to use a separate law, not the one that the Supreme Court said he could not use, but a different law to justify that. Unclear whether that is going to run into legal challenges or legal blocks. Take a listen to what he said, though, off the top here, when, again, he started by admonishing the justices that voted against his administration's wishes and policy here.
The Democrats on the court are thrilled, but they will automatically vote no. They're an automatic no, just like in Congress. They're an automatic no. They're against anything that makes America strong, healthy, and great again. They also are a, frankly, disgrace to our nation, those justices. They're an automatic no, no matter how good a case you have. It's a no.
And again, several times talking about how there are alternative ways for him, he believes, to move forward with his tariff policy. One of those ways, apparently, not going through Congress. He sort of ruled that out based on the answers he gave to some questions today. But take a listen to, again, one of the many examples of him saying he's going to find some way, some different law to move forward.
Therefore, effective immediately, all national security tariffs under Section 232 and existing Section 301 tariffs, they're existing, they're there, remain in place, fully in place, and in full force and effect. Today, I will sign an order to impose a 10% global tariff under Section 122 over and above our normal tariffs already being charged. And we're also initiating several Section 301 and other investigations to protect our country from unfair trading practices of other countries and companies. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And
Nicole, I thought the other big and notable moment from that press conference is he expressed some frustration over the fact that the Supreme Court did not, in its decision at all, address what is to be done with all of the tariff revenue. And the questions were brought up. This is something that we've been talking about all day. Several major corporations that have had to eat the tariff costs themselves, they have been actually already taking steps to move forward to potential litigation, potential lawsuits to try and recoup some of the money they claim they have lost. President Trump pointed out that not one of the justices addressed this at all. In fact, he actually talked about how it was frustrating that, in his view, not even a line in the decision, not even a line in the opinion addressed what to do with the revenue. But again, the president tried to move forward on this and say that actually not much is going to change from his view. We'll see if that's actually how this plays out. But he's obviously, he and his economic team, looking for alternatives to sort of get around what the Supreme Court today has just decided.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Joe Khalil live for us there at the White House. Joe, thank you for that summary.